Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Traffic Talk. So today you guys are joining me on my morning drive to work. Um, and today I'm going out of my way to take the more scenic route to work. So typically I'll take the highway to work. It takes me about 25 to 30 minutes, but every now and then I'll like to kind of just treat myself and take the more scenic route, which drives by the beach, which is really nice. And it's one of the perks of living in Los Angeles is being able to see the beach, even if you don't actually go in the water or, go in the sand. So by doing this, it takes me about 35 minutes to get to work. It's not that big of a deal. And it kind of just brightens my mood for the workday. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm really hoping that the camera is kind of able to capture the beauty of the drive. If not, I might consider switching to a hat clip, and then I think from there you guys will probably get a much better view. So today's episode of Traffic Talk, I think I want to talk about investing and the importance of investing. So I'll start with my own journey. I graduated college in 2019 and I immediately started working for a pretty big company. And at the time, I didn't really know much about investing. I was always raised to be very frugal, to save money. I really got it from my mother. And so I always had the mindset of saving money, but I didn't really know that you had to take that money and invest it in assets in order to grow your wealth. And so assets could mean real estate, it could mean the stock market, and nowadays it can mean crypto. But at the time, 2019 crypto was definitely a thing, but I would say most people my age weren't really playing around with it too much. So, and at the time, of course, I couldn't invest in real estate. So really my only option was to invest in the stock market. And I didn't really know what I was doing. My company did offer a 401k, and it's pretty funny. I remember being very scared and hesitant to put any money in the market. And I say it's funny because the reason I didn't want to put money in the market was because I just thought it was so expensive. I thought the stock market was so overpriced, which, obviously no one really knows what it means to be overpriced, right? No one really knows. But I was just like, yeah, it feels really expensive, and I don't know if I want to invest right now. Maybe I'll wait for, the stock market to drop. And I think part of my hesitation with investing in a 401k was just the idea that retirement was so far away. And I was just earning money, as an adult out of college. And the last thing I wanted to do was put my money away into some random account that I couldn't touch for 40 years. So I was pretty hesitant to invest. And I think I started off just by doing, I believe, a 5% contribution. And in addition to that, I think I put $1,000 into a Wealthfront automated investing thing. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just remember to ask me what my risk tolerance was, blah, blah, blah. And I just put moderate, right? Because I was like, yeah, I don't want to lose my $1,000. At the time, $1,000 was a lot of money to me. So I had $1,000 in Wealthfront, and I had my 5% in my 401k. And the way my company worked, my first year working at the company, I didn't get a 401k match. So it's not like I was getting a match or anything. But anyway, so I was just doing that 5%. And of course, 5% of my paycheck at the time, not really enough to retire. But I think it did kind of help me build a little bit of comfort and also confidence when it came to investing. Because after a while, you kind of forget that 5% of your paycheck goes to your 401k. And so your brain kind of quickly gets normalized to it. But I think the important realization that I had was, I was at the time I was just thinking, I want to spend my money the way I want to spend it because I don't know if I'm going to make it to retirement, right? Like tomorrow is not guaranteed. That was really my mindset at the time. And I think what really changed for me was the idea that by putting away money into your retirement, the remaining money that you have, you can have a little bit more liberty in terms of how you spend it without feeling guilty. Does that make sense? So basically, let's say your paycheck is $1,000 and you contribute $300 to your retirement account. So you have $700 left. So because you know that you're already socking away money for your future self, you can feel a little bit more comfortable, spending that rest of the $700 on things that you want to do, whether it's a trip, treating yourself to a nice dinner, etc. You can feel a little bit more comfortable about that because you know that you're contributing something to your retirement. And so I think that mindset kind of helped me feel more comfortable about putting money into my 401k. And so eventually after that, I started to max out my 401k. And then on top of that, I started maxing out my Roth IRA as well. And I would highly encourage everyone listening to start investing now. Don't be too concerned about the current prices of the stock market. None of that really matters because the idea is that in 40 years, it's going to be worth a lot more than it is today. And if it's not, something seriously went wrong, right? And so just to give you an idea, when I first started investing in 2019, I was very concerned that the prices were too expensive and I was going to lose money. But 5 years later, or is it 6 years later now, I think the S&P has almost doubled. So if I had put in, 50 grand in 2019, it would be worth over 100 grand today. And so I would really encourage you not to be too focused on what the price is today and just understand that in 30, 40 years, it really should be higher. And if it's not, then we're all kind of screwed, aren't we? So I think I have a lot of friends that actually don't invest, and it makes me a little bit concerned about their future. And I think part of it is just a lack of education and a lack of understanding of how powerful compound interest is. Just as an example, if you're lucky enough to be able to save and invest up to $500,000, let's say your entire stock portfolio is worth $500,000, a 10% return would mean that you just made $50,000. And so to put that into perspective, just by doing absolutely nothing at all, you're not doing anything, you just made $50,000, which is equivalent to a lot of people's entire salary. And so that's why it's extremely important to make your money work for you, right? Because every day you're going to work, you're trading your time for a paycheck, whether it's $20 an hour, $30, $40 an hour. You're going in and you're trading a little bit of your life for money. And so once you do get that money, you get to decide, am I going to take that money and spend it on, random things like a new iPhone, a new car, or whatever? Or are you going to make that money work for you so that in the future you don't have to continue trading your time for money, right? Everyone has that decision to make. And some people value their happiness today, and others value their happiness in the future, which is why they invest all their money. I think it's important to have a balance. I think it's important to be able to enjoy your money today, but at the same time, you do have to put some money away for your future self. And putting money away for your future self does not just mean putting it into a bank account. It means investing in the stock market. So if you're listening to this and you have no idea about stocks at all, I'm just going to give you this one simple advice. Invest in a target dated fund. It's the simplest thing for investors that don't know what they're doing, and it's honestly the best for most people anyway, because and just to be clear, when I say invest in the stock market, I don't mean to buy individual stocks, right? I don't mean you should go out and buy $10,000 worth of Apple stock. No, I mean you should buy the S&P 500 and you should buy some international stocks as well, so you have a very, very diversified portfolio. So for those of you who are not aware of what a target date fund is, essentially they're different ETFs, and they're categorized by your retirement date. So let's say you want to retire by the year 2060. Then what you would do is you would buy a 2060 target date fund. You can just Google it. There's a lot of companies that offer it. For example, Vanguard has a 2060 fund. Fidelity has a 2060 fund, etc. There's a lot of companies that offer it. And you can buy those, you can buy that inside of your brokerage. And if you guys don't know what that is, maybe I'll make another video kind of explaining the nuts and bolts of what that is. But I need to make a left turn here. My bad. Oh wait, I can't make a left turn here. Let's skip. Okay, never mind. Yes, so like I was saying, if you're going to retire in the year 2060, all you have to do is buy a 2060 fund, and you do not have to touch it at all, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So a 2060 fund essentially is composed of, I believe, a mixture of US stocks and a mixture of international stocks. So stocks in China, stocks in England, France, Germany, India, etc. And the point of that target date fund is that it's well diversified, so that if in 20 years India is doing really well and the US isn't, your portfolio will still hopefully benefit from it. So that's really the idea of a target date fund. And the main feature of a target date fund is, as you get older, as you get closer to 2060, that fund will automatically adjust the risk so that as you get closer to retirement age, your portfolio becomes less risky. And in order to become less risky, that does mean investing less in stocks and investing more in US bonds or international bonds. And that's really the main idea of investing. When you're young, let's say you're 20, 22 years old, you should be taking as much risk as possible in the stock market so that you can get the most return. And when I say most risk, I really just mean the vast majority of your portfolio should be in stocks, right? As you get older, let's say you're 55 and you're close to retirement age, you should not have as much stocks, and you should have more bonds, because bonds are a little bit more stable. So that's kind of investing in a nutshell. If you want to, you can try to pick stocks. So you can try to, invest in Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, whatever you want to do. But I would encourage you to limit that. to maybe 10% of your portfolio. So if your portfolio is, if you have $100,000, I would recommend maybe just do $10,000 in individual stocks, and the rest of the $90,000, I would encourage you to just invest it in a S&P 500 or target date fund. Just because most people they don't really know what they're doing, right? They're kind of just investing, picking stocks, and just kind of hoping that it goes up. And so, yes, you might come out successful from that, but I kind of see it more like gambling than anything else. So I personally would not really encourage it. So yes, we are at the beach right now. We have arrived at the scenic route. I'm really hoping the camera is able to capture it, but if not, I will do another video. But the topic at hand today and the point of this video is to talk about investing, and it's something I'm very, very passionate about because I've seen firsthand how powerful investing is. I've seen my portfolio go up so much, and it's honestly pretty fun to watch and pretty exciting. But I think the most exciting part is knowing that I'm not just living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going into work to get money so that I can buy assets and create that wealth for myself and for my future family. And I think that helps keep me sane at work, because it kind of gives me a purpose of like, okay, this is why I'm going to work, so that I can get more assets and build up my wealth. Man, it is unfortunately a little bit cloudy today. I think the sun does come out during the afternoon. So if I were to do this drive on the way home, it'll probably be a lot brighter, a lot sunnier. So I don't know how this is going to turn out on the camera, but maybe I'll film it again on the way on the drive home. But sometimes cloudy days are kind of nice too, and sometimes it's just nice not driving on the freeway. I don't know. Freeway can be kind of boring sometimes. So even though this isn't the ideal weather that I was hoping for, it's okay. Oh, and one other thing I'll add, it's especially important for you guys to invest in it into your 401k if your company offers a match, because that's essentially free money, right? If your company offers a 5% match, you should absolutely, at a minimum, contribute so that you get that 5% match. Because it's free money, right? It's an automatic 100% return on your money. You put in $100, they put in $100. That's 100% return. Now you have $200. So I would absolutely prioritize getting your 401k match, because again, it is free money. So hopefully this traffic talk was educational, and hopefully it was interesting. I think there's a lot to talk about for investing. So I think, maybe I'll make a couple other videos in the future. Maybe I'll talk about my own stock portfolio in the future. But for now, I kind of just wanted to talk about the basics and stress the importance of investing. And I believe we have arrived at, I think this is Manhattan Beach. So we are now in a beach town, and I am almost at my workplace. So I will be editing this video, and I Really appreciate you guys continuing to watch. If there's any new viewers, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. It really does help me grow, and it helps me pursue this little side hustle / hobby of mine. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would like the video, subscribe, and again, thank you guys again for continuing to watch. Really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time on the next episode of Traffic Talk.